night of the soul lie that keeps you stuck? There is a moment in many spiritual journeys where everything feels like it is collapsing. Motivation disappears, relationships lose meaning, and even faith feels like it's being stripped away. This is often labeled as the dark night of the soul. But what if the most widely accepted explanation of this experience is also the very thing keeping people stuck in it? Here's the unsettling part. What if you've misunderstood what's actually happening? The phrase originates with the 16th century Spanish mystic and poet Saint John of the Cross, a Catholic priest whose writings described a deep spiritual purification process in which the soul detaches from ego-based desires to unite with the divine. In his work, Dark Night of the Soul, he was not describing depression or chronic emotional paralysis in the modern sense, but a structured spiritual transformation rooted in theological discipline. Yet in modern spiritual spaces, this concept has shifted dramatically. It is now often used to explain prolonged suffering, emotional numbness, or existential confusion as something sacred that must simply be endured. And this is where the lie begins to form. Because here's the question that rarely gets asked. What if not all suffering labeled as a dark night is actually spiritual transformation? Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung, founder of analytical psychology, warned extensively about this confusion. Jung observed that individuals undergoing psychological breakdowns or unresolved trauma often assign spiritual meaning to their distress, a process he called inflation of the psyche. In simpler terms, the mind can romanticize pain when it lacks tools to process it. His work suggests that not all inner darkness is awakening. Sometimes it is unhealed material demanding attention. And yet many remain trapped here. They believe they are in a sacred in-between phase, waiting for divine timing, when in reality, they may be stuck in unprocessed grief, nervous system dysregulation, or identity confusion. The danger is subtle but powerful. If suffering is always labeled as spiritual progress, there is no urgency to heal it. Psychologist Dr. John Wellwood, known for integrating psychology and spirituality, coined the term spiritual bypassing. He described it as the tendency to use spiritual ideas to avoid facing emotional wounds. This is especially relevant here. When someone assumes they are in a dark night, they may unintentionally bypass the very work that would end it. But here's where the perspective shifts again. True spiritual transformation, as described in both mystical traditions and depth psychology, does not leave a person endlessly stuck. It moves. It reshapes perception, dissolves rigid identity, and eventually integrates the shadow rather than circling it indefinitely. So if there is a lie, it is not that the dark night exists, but that all prolonged inner suffering automatically qualifies as it. The real question becomes, is this experience breaking you open or quietly keeping you frozen? The answer determines everything, because one leads to transformation, the other leads to stagnation disguised as awakening. In conclusion, the dark night of the soul is not a label meant to validate endless suffering. It is a description of a passage. But like all passages, it is meant to be crossed, not lived inside permanently. When understood through both its mystical origins and modern psychological insight, it becomes clear. Awakening is not the maintenance of pain, but the movement through it.